Yeah, some days I feel unfazed, like when I'm with my friends with a cup raised. On Monday, I got a gun raised, suicidal do or die until hump day. Then I go right back at it like an automatic. More drinks, more songs, more beats to rap. I need a shrink, I'm gone, more time keeps passing. No watch, no thoughts at all, just a hat, new era. Rep my P's and those O's, need the Phillies with the orange and black to feel home. From Citizens Bank back to Camden Yards, it's a tale of two cities, and trust we go hard. Trust we go hard, yes we go hard. You said we go hard, I said we go hard. Rockin' my Bob Cousy stuck in.
Hey yo guys, what's going on? It's TheSuperKamakazee here, and that little intro in the beginning was just me pulling off a little spawn trap. Unfortunately, the host dashboarded during host migration, or the new host dashboard or whatever, because it destroyed the lobby. And I was going to town. Now, in this video, I'll show you the route I take now, and the route I used to take. So in the gameplay in the beginning, I joined a bit late, but I still spawned on the spawn, which is right here. Lots of spawns in that sentence there. But yeah, you spawn right next to this truck in the beginning, and you see with those bullet holes and shit that I put in there. And instead of running up here and pushing right here and going here, where the enemies have the head glitch on this thing, they can like kind of partially create a head glitch, and you're just standing there right out here in the open. You know, maybe you can like try and lean and just do crazy shit, but instead of pushing up this little hill, you go the other side of the fence, and around this truck and shit, you got all this cover. You know, if they're coming through, you can see them through the tubes. You have this head glitch on the tubes too, and just bam. And then you really just want to take cover behind the trucks, and you can pop out and just like, whoa, what the fuck? Oh, there's enemies here, and you're gonna pick them off, and then, you know, you pretty much set up. This is the trailer park area that I didn't really like before. I still don't like it if you don't have them in a spawn trap, or if you're on the other side of the map, other spawn, if like on the other team. But for this side, for spawn trapping, it's very good. This area right here, great position, because you got this head glitch kind of, you know, you kind of lean and shit, and you got this little barrier protecting you. And then behind you, you can do this too, and you can hear very well on this map too, because there's water. So they'd be splishy splashing around when they're walking on this. That's how I always knew where the enemies were coming from in that little gameplay in the beginning. They would just walk around the water, there'd be rocks and just all different sounds, and they walk up on like the sandy bit. It's like more sand sound. And then there's just the gravel and dirt, and there's that sound. So you can really tell where the enemies are on this map. It's really easy, and if they try to climb up this ladder, there's the cling, clang, cling, clang sound, like the goddamn Pokemon name. And so yeah, it's pretty easy to maneuver. So first off, I like to push up here and come out here, because there is a spawn point right behind this wall for the enemies. They spawn back there, but they don't get that often when you're sitting on this spot. They can get it, because you technically can't see them, and they can spawn there. But it's not that common for them to spawn there. The main spawn I find for them is down in this riverbed, like there. That's a really main spawn for the enemies. It's like they spawn here or in this little cave thing, and they spawn in here, and it's a really nice spawn because they're pretty much in the open, and you can be all the way back here in cover, and like they won't even be able to see you, and you can just like, and like they have no idea what hit them. So it's really easy to spawn trap, especially if you're on this side, because, you know, they spawn down there, they spawn back there, and they also spawn on the other side of the map. So that's why this map is kind of hard to pull off solo. But if you got a team that keeps just pushing and pushing and pushing to the objective, which my team was doing, I could pull it off. So you can pull it off if you have just a team that's playing the objective and a good team. Now, if your team isn't good, you still can pull this off, because you want to hover more around this area then. You got to be wary of your back there, because they'll be pushing up the middle maybe and picking you off from behind. And you just got to sound hole basically where the enemies are from. So this spawn trap really requires the sound horing, or any sort of like just knowledge of where the enemies are. A SATCOM, what's it called? That see-through wall thingy. You know, just anything that lets you know where the enemies are, because it's really like congested and lots of little pathways they can take. So you really want to know where they are. Now the route. And, well, I gotta go into the part where, if your team's not the best of players, you gotta rotate around these trailers, because if their team's not the best, they're not gonna be spawning, so you don't have to worry about them coming out there. You push up here to the middle, and this is pretty much another great spot on the map, because you have a view down there. There's a spawn point under that bridge, and I think there's a spawn point behind this big rock thingy, and I think there's a spawn point behind this container, but that just might be free-for-all. And so yeah, that's why this map's kind of hard to spawn trap solo, because the spawns are so spread out. They're on other sides of the map. You know, the 3 main spawns here and 3 main spawns on that side. So there's not really many middle spawns, if any. There probably is. I think there's a spawn on the Blitz, just like every Blitz map does. And the one spawn point you gotta watch out for though, guys, is if your team pushes up really deep into their spawn, they can actually spawn all the way out here in this little truck corner. And that is not what you want them to have, because your team will start just pushing up because the enemies are spawning away from your team, and they're just gonna keep pushing up. Your team's gonna just come through here, overrun the spawn. They're gonna continuously spawn out here, and the enemies, they're not gonna be like, oh, why not go back to our spawn and get destroyed by all the enemies? They're gonna be like, oh no, look, free score, and they're just gonna run around or up there, and they're gonna just score, but when they score, they're just gonna spawn right back there, and that's why you gotta watch out when your team's there. So basically, when your team pushes up that far and they force that spawn, and you're down here rotating between these trailers in the middle, you really gotta watch your back from them coming from up here. And if they're coming up there, you got a little head glitch here, and you can just pick them off. And so basically, if your team pushes up a lot and you're realizing you're over there's no action, no one's spawning, you come up here, no one's spawning, you see your teammates swarming all around the spawn, you want to fall back, and you want to come up on this cliff. You'll pick off any enemies up on the cliff, and sound horn's really good on this cliff too, because you can hear them on the road, and you actually make a call out if they're on the road, and you'll be like, enemies on the road, or if you're a woman, enemies on the road. But yeah, and then pretty much, if you're up here, they can still spawn down there, and you can just easily pick them off. And that's pretty much that side was the spawn trap. Now, the other side, it doesn't work that much. I'm not really going to go into detail with it. I'm just gonna, because I'm in the spot that you want to be in. So basically, if this is the goal you're trying to score, and that's the goal you're defending, so let's say you flip spawns out, you want to be up on this cliff, because there's a spawn point down here, like in this, like, man cave thing, and there's a spawn point back here, like behind the truck, and there's also spawn points, like 2 spawn points in the construction area. But if you're on the cliff, you're not blocking any of those spawn points, and you hear them running underneath you, and you just easily just pick them off. It is so easy. But the thing is, you're vulnerable from the people spawning down in the construction site and the people on this, because when you're running around on the cliff, there's no way to be hide. You have like a 2-second window where you're just point blank in the open, and the enemies like to camp up. There's always at least 1 or 2 snipers that like to sit up in this building, spawn building, and just camp here. And if you start picking them off, and then they get the lucky spawn in the construction area, they're gonna run into this building, and they're just gonna sit here and wait for you in that 2-second window where you're open and just pick you off. Which is why the spawn trap's a lot harder on this side, but again, the one on the trailer, very easy to pull off. I highly recommend it. Really fast-paced action. Again, I really recommend a headset for that side. You're really gonna need it. You're really gonna want to have it. You're gonna regret it if you don't have one. And yeah, that's pretty much the video, guys. Anyway, peace, TheSuperKamakazee.